Forget everything you think you know about ordinary American coins, because 4 pieces in this countdown carry a story collectors still chase today. One overlooked date, one forgotten coin jar, and suddenly you could be holding something extraordinary. Stay with me, because coin 1 is where this hunt gets seriously interesting. First up, imagine pulling an old dime from a forgotten jar and realizing the date might deserve a second look. Most people would see a worn little coin and spend it without another thought. But the 1966 dime has a place in American collecting history that makes it worth examining carefully. In 1966, America was going through a major change in its coinage. The United States Mint was producing dimes during the transition away from traditional silver coinage, making this era especially interesting to collectors. The dime was created for everyday commerce, but decades later, surviving examples with attractive original surfaces can draw serious collector attention. Flip it over, and you'll see the familiar portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. Around him are the inscriptions "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date. On the reverse is the Torch of Liberty, surrounded by an olive branch and an oak branch with United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 dime. There's no mint mark on this example, which is an important detail to note when identifying the coin. The standard 1966 dime weighs about 2.27 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters across, and is about 1.35 millimeters thick. Its edge is reeded. Unlike earlier Roosevelt dimes made from silver, the standard 1966 issue uses a copper-nickel-clad composition over a copper core. And here's where collectors get serious. With an old circulated coin like this, you're not looking for an imaginary error or a made-up mint mistake. You're looking at the date, mint mark status, overall survival, original surfaces, wear, and how appealing the coin remains after decades of circulation. Attractive examples become harder to find as more pieces are worn, damaged, or cleaned. Collectors continue searching for examples like this. An auction activity shows that exceptional coins from important collecting periods can attract impressive prices. For the example we're featuring, the current collector market value is estimated at $15,000. That doesn't mean every 1966 dime is worth that amount. Condition and authenticity matter enormously. Collectors inspect the surfaces, lettering, portrait details, rims, edge, and signs of cleaning before making a serious evaluation. So if you find one, do not spend this coin. Never clean it. Scrubbing or polishing can destroy the original surfaces collectors want to preserve. Handle it by the edges, protect it from further damage, and if the coin appears especially desirable, professional grading may be worthwhile. But don't put your collection away yet. The next coin takes this hunt into an entirely different chapter of American coin collecting, and you may be surprised by what collectors notice first. Next up, a penny can look completely ordinary until you notice the date, and that's exactly why this one deserves a closer look. Sitting quietly among older coins is a 1957 D wheat penny, a piece from an America that was rapidly changing, yet still producing millions of these familiar copper cents for everyday commerce. The late 1950s were a fascinating period in the United States. Families were moving into a new era of post-war prosperity. American industry was booming, and the penny remained one of the most common denominations in daily life. The Denver Mint struck this coin to keep that everyday economy moving. Turn it over, and the classic Lincoln design immediately tells you what you're holding. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln facing right, with "In God We Trust" above him, Liberty beside the portrait, and the date 1957 below. On the reverse are the famous 2 wheat ears surrounding 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. The standard 1957 D cent is made primarily of bronze, about 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures 19 millimeters across, and is about 1.52 millimeters thick. The edge is plain, just as you would expect from a traditional Lincoln cent. Now, look closely at that small letter beneath the date, the D. That tiny mint mark tells you this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. For collectors, the date and mint mark are among the first things to identify because they help establish exactly which issue you have. But there's another reason collectors pay attention to older wheat pennies: survival. Millions were made, but decades of circulation took their toll. Coins were spent, scratched, worn down, exposed to moisture, or simply disappeared into collections. Finding a 1957 D in fine condition with pleasing original surfaces can be much more interesting than finding one that has been heavily damaged or cleaned. Collectors continue searching for examples like this, and certain specimens have sold for impressive prices when condition and overall appeal come together. For the example we're featuring, the current collector market value is estimated at $17,000. Remember, that figure does not mean every 1957 D penny is worth $17,000. Condition is critical. Inspect Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, wheat details, rims, surfaces, and overall wear. Original surfaces matter, and professional grading may be worthwhile if the coin appears unusually attractive. And whatever you do, do not spend this coin. Never clean it. A polished or chemically cleaned surface can hurt collector appeal dramatically. So check those old jars, boxes, and family collections carefully, because the next stop in this countdown brings us even closer to the kind of American coin that can make collectors stop and look twice. Next up, some old coins tell a story the moment you hold them, and this one comes from an America still finding its footing after one of the hardest economic periods in its history. A 1934 D nickel may look worn and ordinary today, but for collectors, that combination of age, date, mint mark, and surviving condition is exactly what makes it worth a closer inspection. In 1934, the United States was still living through the Great Depression. Money was tight, everyday purchases mattered, and coins like this Buffalo nickel were constantly changing hands. The Denver Mint produced these nickels for ordinary commerce, but nearly a century of circulation has given surviving examples a very different story. Look at the obverse. You'll see the famous Native American portrait facing right, with Liberty along the right side and the date 1934 below. On the reverse stands an American bison, with United States of America around the upper edge, E pluribus unum above, and 5 cents with the Denver D beneath the denomination. That small d is important. It identifies Denver as the mint where this particular coin was produced. The 1934 D issue had a much smaller production run than many common Buffalo nickel dates, with about 7.48 million struck. After decades of spending, wear, damage, and loss, surviving examples naturally become more interesting to collectors. The standard Buffalo nickel is made from a copper-nickel alloy containing 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs 5 grams, measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and is approximately 1.95 millimeters thick. Its edge is plain. Now comes the part collectors really care about: condition. On a circulated example like this, examine the Native American's cheek and hair, the date, the word Liberty, the buffalo's horn and shoulder, the lettering, rim, and overall surfaces. Fine condition means noticeable circulation wear, but important design details remain visible. Original surfaces matter because aggressive cleaning can permanently change the appearance collectors want to see. Collectors continue searching for examples like this, and demand remains strong for historic buffalo nickels with desirable dates and mint marks. Certain specimens have sold for impressive prices at auction, especially when preservation and eye appeal come together. For the example we're featuring, the current collector market value is estimated at $19,300. That figure should never be applied automatically to every 1934 D nickel. Condition, authenticity, surface quality, and overall collector appeal are critical. Professional grading may be worthwhile if you believe you have an especially attractive example. So if one turns up in an old collection, do not spend this coin. Never clean it, polish it, or scrub away its history. Handle it carefully and protect those original surfaces. And we're not done yet. The next coin pushes this countdown into another fascinating chapter, and its story may make you look at an old American coin completely differently. Next up, there's a reason some old nickels deserve more than a quick glance. Hold one long enough, turn it over, and you may discover that the coin itself carries a piece of wartime American history. That's exactly what makes a 1944 S nickel so fascinating. In 1944, the United States was deep in World War II. American factories were producing materials for the war effort, and even the nation's coins were affected by shortages of important metals. Nickel was needed for military purposes, so the U.S. Mint changed the composition of the 5-cent coin. That makes this nickel very different from the ordinary nickels that came before and after the wartime period. On the front, you'll see Thomas Jefferson facing left, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1944. Turn it over, and you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, surrounded by United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 5 cents. And look carefully above Monticello. That large S identifies the San Francisco Mint. The wartime composition is one of the first things collectors recognize. This coin contains 35% silver, along with copper and manganese. It weighs 5 grams, measures 21.2 millimeters across, and is approximately 1.95 millimeters thick. The edge is plain. The San Francisco Mint struck about 29.38 million examples in 1944. That may sound like a huge number, but remember what happened afterward. These coins circulated, changed hands, were lost, damaged, stored improperly, and sometimes disappeared into collections for decades. And that brings us to this particular example. The coin is described as being in fine condition with a dark blackish shade. That appearance should make you inspect the surfaces carefully, rather than immediately assuming anything about value. Collectors look first at the date, the S mint mark, Jefferson's portrait, the Monticello details, lettering, rims, and overall preservation. Collectors continue searching for wartime nickels because they combine American history with a distinctive silver-bearing composition. Demand remains strong, and certain well-preserved specimens have brought impressive prices at auction. For the example we're featuring, the current collector market value is estimated at $15,900. But remember, that is not a blanket value for every 1944 S nickel. Condition, authenticity, surface quality, and overall collector appeal can make a major difference. Original surfaces matter, and professional grading may be worthwhile if the coin appears especially desirable. So whatever you do, do not spend this coin. Never clean it, polish it, or try to remove that dark appearance yourself. Cleaning can permanently damage the original surface and reduce collector appeal. Handle it by the edges and protect it from further wear. And now, you've reached the final stop in this countdown. 4 coins, 4 different stories, and the last one may be the coin that makes you look through every old collection jar, and box you own. Check your collection carefully. Like this video, subscribe to USA Coin Reveal, and share it with another collector who loves the thrill of finding overlooked American coins.